Hey buddies, welcome back. If it is your first time here, my name is Irene. Please do well to subscribe and like, and also turn on your notification bell so whenever I post a video, you will be among the first people to be notified. Do that. Thank you. And to my old subscribers, you guys already know I love you so much and I really do appreciate everything you've been doing for me. Thank you so very much. So on today, we'll be talking about getting a job in Germany as an English speaker. So to do that successfully, I have to bring in someone who has worked in organizations where he's not required to speak so much of German, or where he's not required to even speak German at all. I'll be bringing in someone who is very special, my husband. For those of you who doesn't know my husband, it's an opportunity for you to meet him. So babe, please come on. So you are welcome. First of all, please introduce yourself. What's your name and
Yeah, my name is Michael Adewoye. Yeah.
please tell us how you've been able to get your jobs, because I'm also aware that you have worked in different organizations where German is not required. So how were you able to achieve that?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here today. The first thing I would say is one, your background, other than your degree. Like maybe you studied engineering, you studied whatever it is that you studied. What other skills do you have? Many of our people coming into Germany leave some of their skills behind at home. Maybe there is someone maybe you're a designer, you do Corel Draw designs, stuff like that. Those are skills that could that could give you an advantage when applying for a job. And it is very also good that on your CV, you put all your skills in them.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first thing is the way you package your CV. If you put certain skills on your CV and your employer sees these skills and they are interested in it, they would not consider your German language first. They will consider this specific skill first before thinking of the language.
Okay.
That is one. Two, when you're making your application, because you already know that your lack of the German knowledge is more or less like a negative. So you try to apply to companies or organizations that has an international outlook.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first place I worked was at an international research institute. So in such a place, you have Chinese, you have Indians, you have people from the US, from the UK.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of diversity of people's background. So you target such places, you target companies that are not necessarily German companies, but who are in Germany. You target even German companies with an international outlook. So that way your knowledge of German will not be much of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because what they are most interested in is in the skills and experience you have. The problem with not knowing German is when you need to learn on the job, and it's difficult to communicate with you. But if it is a company or an organization where people are from different backgrounds, then it becomes easier to communicate. Many of them do speak in English.
Yeah.
And like I said, one of the most important aspects is your CV. Before people or employers see you, your CV is the number one thing. So whatever relevant skills that you have to that job you're applying to, make sure it is written on your CV. Let them be like the first few things the employer will notice. Then some other skills that you have, even though they may not be relevant to this position you're applying to, also list them on your CV. And if you're the kind of person that travels a lot, also indicate that you've been to this place, you've been to this place. Because you'll be surprised what really attracts your prospective employer. I've gone for an interview, and the interviewer, the first thing she said was like, wow, it's interesting you've been to 3 different continents.
Yeah.
And so you may not know what will be like of interest to your employer. So just try and put as much as possible, and also indicate your German skill level. If it is a beginner, you put A1. If it is an advanced beginner, you put A2. If you are maybe fluent in conversation, you put B1. If you are an advanced person in conversation, you put B2, so that they will have an idea of, okay,
Your
your level of understanding. Are we going to, try to enroll him? Like where I currently work, they also enrolled me in a German school, which is good. If you want to live in Germany, anywhere or one way or another, you need to learn the language.
Yeah, very important.
So basically, your CV is the number one thing I would say. You have to structure well, you have to package it well, put in relevant information first, relevant skills and experience. In Germany, your experience and your skills are more important than your degree.
Of course.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Your experience, I will repeat it again, your experience and your skills are more important than anything.
Yeah.
Secondly, I would say your degrees. So maybe you have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, also put it there, because it doesn't matter what the job description is, you will be paid according to the degree you are presenting. So someone with a master's degree will most likely get better salary than someone with a bachelor's degree working the same job. And if you have a PhD, it's also better. You'll get a better pay. So those are some of the things you need to factor in. Another point I would want to to make is, when you're making your application, to understand is, in Germany, the number one thing that prevents them from hiring people who does not understand German is because they have this mindset that they cannot teach you.
Okay.
But you can also explain to them that, see, I learn fast. You understand? So that way they will consider, okay, maybe if we give him like 6 months, which is the normal thing. Any job you get in Germany, the first 6 months is for you to understudy the job and for them to understudy you, if the relationship will work. So if you can prove to them that you are someone that could learn fast on the job, then they are ready to take, the chance on you. Another thing I would also like to point out is, when you make these applications, some people would advise you write your CV in German and send it to them. That is better to let them see your CV. Yeah, send it in German and indicate that you don't speak German. Some will say, no, send it out in English. In my experience, it does not really matter much whether you send it in German or you send it in English, as long as you have indicated on it that your German level is not sufficient, they will consider it. But I would like to tell you a very funny story. So I made an application, I packaged it in German, I used DeepL to translate it, and I put below, even when you translate with DeepL will put a link below that this was translated online using DeepL. But I also indicated in the application that my German level is A2, and I was invited for interview. In fact, I was invited to come and start. And I got there, and the lady was rapping German for me, and I could not even understand even anything.
What was going on?
And I'm like, excuse me, ma. My German level is not as advanced as you're talking to me. She was like, but your application looks really okay. I'm like, yeah, I translated it online, and I indicated that my German level is A2. She was like, she was so sorry. She did not even get to that point once she saw my experiences and skills. I had to carry my bag and leave. So after then, the idea of sending in your application in German, it became discouraging for me, because many times when you send out your application like that, what you get is leider nicht or leider nicht müssen. We have to tell you, unfortunately, that you cannot work with us. But when you send it out in English, already any
They already
response you
know.
get back is going to be positive. They already know
Yeah.
your German skill or your German
German
level.
level.
And when you go for interview, it is very, very also important to indicate that you are interested in learning the language. It is very, very, very important to let your interviewer know that you are interested in learning the language, that even you've already started learning if you are enrolled.
Yeah.
And if you are not enrolled into learning German, tell them you're learning online. Tell them you're using Duolingo. Tell them you're using the DW app. Just let them know that you are making effort into learning the language. And that way it becomes more interesting for them that, okay, this person, we can really invest in them.
Okay.
So for me, I think those are, the basic things. Number one, package your CV very well. Put in relevant skills that you have that you think are relevant to the job you're applying to. Next, put also skills that you have, which may not necessarily be relevant to the job you're applying to, but which could come in handy.
Yeah.
Your employer will determine that. Also, if you have multiple degrees, also put it in. Also indicate your German level, that you're still a beginner, but you're interested in learning. So those are some of the points I would, that I find was useful and was of benefit to me. Like I also said, try and send in your applications to company or organizations with an international outlook. That way, they are not shocked that why is this person that doesn't speak German is applying to work with us. But if you decide to go and pick a traditional German company, you are most likely going to get leider nicht müssen. So those are some of the things I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering the question. I also have another question for you. What are some of the websites where one can see all these jobs? Like, what are the websites you use to get all these job applications done?
Yeah, to answer your question, I would like to say something first. The greatest or the easiest way to get a job, and this does not only apply to Germany, anywhere in the world, is through word of mouth, man no man.
Okay.
Your viewers should understand this. Like someone within the organization referring you, someone within the organization asking you to apply.
Okay.
That is the easiest way. You know that such application, you are most likely going to get invited for the interview. But aside that, there are a lot of websites. Indeed.de is there. You can even refine your search parameters by including English speaking jobs only. So it will only list jobs that does not require a strong German language. But I will also advise that when you're fine-tuning your search parameters on this website, instead of picking English only, look for English and German. There are some jobs that require both English and German. But if they couldn't get enough people, they will stick with someone that speaks only English over someone that speaks only German. Because it's easier to learn German in Germany than to learn English in Germany. So pick, first of all, English jobs. Then you can also add English plus German. So jobs that require speaking of both English and German, you're most probably going to get it if they are not getting the kind of enough applicants or the kind of applicants that fit into. Another one you can use is stepstone.de. It's also a very popular website here. You can also use eBay Kleinanzeigen. I don't know what Kleinanzeigen means in English, but I believe she's going to
write it down. Don't worry, I will list everything.
So you can also use eBay Kleinanzeigen.de for, and some people also use Zing, and also LinkedIn. To apply for jobs. I don't apply for jobs on LinkedIn. I don't apply for jobs on Zing, but you can also use some of these places too. But like I said, importantly, because of your low German skills, look first for jobs that want to employ English speakers. After that, look for jobs that want to employ someone that speaks both English and German. And that way, use that, hierarchy, criteria of hierarchy. It helps you not to waste so much time in sending out applications only to get
Leider nicht.
leider nicht. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And
Thank
my
you.
last question for you is, what are the challenges you face working in Germany without having so much German skills? Do you have any challenges, and how do you overcome all these challenges?
Yeah, for me, I think the number one thing that matters is your mindset. Because I believe, like, and your viewers and even you will agree with me, when the Europeans came to Africa, they did not speak Yoruba or Igbo or any African language. But one way or another, we were able to communicate and we started doing business. So it is possible, actually, to do business with someone who you do not speak their language. What matters is the mindset you take to the place.
Okay.
So if you go to a place with a mindset that is not very helpful, like I see many Nigerians would say, these Germans, they are racist. What do you mean racist? Even in Nigeria, there's tribalism.
Of course.
So when you have a mindset that the people you are going to be working with are racist, you will see racism. Like I was in a place and the departmental head said, I cannot work with him because actually the first thing she asked was, she tried to interact with me and I was like, unfortunately, my Dutch is not so good. And she was like, how can she work with someone that doesn't speak German, and she doesn't speak English, this, that. And basically that was it. But why I brought this up is the mindset part. Because I was brought there, I stayed, and within a couple of hours, we started interacting in my little German, in our little English, and we were able to, to get along. I didn't see it as racism. I didn't see it as, discrimination. For me, it was a valid objection from the lady, because how do you communicate with someone who does not speak the language you speak? But because I didn't have a mindset of, this is racism, this is discrimination, I was able to, break the ice, and we got on fine. For me, and that is very, very important when you're applying for work, even when you're doing interview. Germans are naturally conservative and on the reserve side. Nigerians, we are not. So when you go, don't be reserved, talk, ask questions. They like it. They like people that, you want to interact, don't go and be conservative and reserved like them. Just go, be yourself. Exactly, be yourself. No need to go there and no, just talk, ask questions, and you realize that even they are interested in being friends with you.
Yeah.
So make sure that your mindset is in the right place. Just because you went to the store and someone said something to you, don't see it as racism. Just because you were on the road and someone screamed at you, that could happen to anybody anywhere. Because the reason I'm emphasizing this is, once you carry that mindset of racism, you are in Germany, that means you will see it everywhere.
Yeah.
But once you carry a mindset that human beings are human, you realize that majority of the time, people are not trying to be racist to you. It's just based on their understanding. And once they come to know you, they can never be racist with you. Thank you. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you. You did so well. Thank you. So to add to what my husband said, I will also say you should not be afraid in sending out your CVs. Don't be afraid. Just send it out. You don't know what will happen, whether it's a German company or not. You don't really know how it's going to go. So just send in your applications and hope for the best, right? Even where I work, I never knew I would get the job, because the requirements, you must have experience Erfahrung, and you will have up to B1, B2 German level. But I only have B1 and I don't have Erfahrung. But because I was hopeful, I have faith, I just sent in my CV and I went for the interview, and I got the job, So just be yourself, and that's all I can say. Just send out your CVs. Even when you think it is a German company, they don't speak English, they do this, they don't do that. Just send out your CVs. Send them out and wait for your interviews. When the interview comes, you go. And it can be very nervous, but just go there and see what happens. Nobody is going to beat you. At the end of the day, they will tell you we cannot take you. That's the worst that can happen, right? So just send in your CVs and hope for the best. So thank you, and we have come to the end of today's video. As always, like, comment, and share. Thank you guys so much. Bye. Choose, like the Germans will say.